Welcome to Common Sense Matters, a program and podcast that takes a closer look at how issues, legislation, and history affect Middle Tennessee. I'm Sandy Rice, your host, and joining me today is Carol Abney. Hi, Carol.
Hi, Sandy. Thanks for having me.
You've overtaken my cousin, who's a retired CPA, as my favorite CPA.
Well, thank you.
So you're from Salina, Tennessee,
Yes.
in Clay County, way up north, and you're a very busy gal. I appreciate your time this morning. You've been my guest on several occasions and have done a great job at explaining tax issues to me and the
Happy
listeners.
to be here.
Okay, great. I certainly learned a lot preparing for your visit today. I'd said if you're looking for a business partner,
Taxes are hard.
That's going to be a big job opportunity for a lot of people coming up, because our topic today is the One Big Beautiful Bill, which I will refer as BBB. If that's all right with you, because it's too much to say. It was passed on July 3rd by Congress and signed July 4th, 2025. So, listeners, you may have heard of it. It's legislation that will have an effect on federal taxes, credits, deductions, and social programs. The bill is certainly big at almost 900 pages, so the legislature's pressure to pass it quickly may not have read it. Any concerns about these provisions were also discouraged, I believe. So, and it would have been nice, I guess, this may have happened somewhere, I wasn't aware of it here, that Congress was on August, the House of Representatives had the whole month of August. You know, that would have been a recess may have been a great time, for our congressmen here in Tennessee to discuss to us, what it all means. But in Franklin County, that didn't happen. How about Clay County? Your congressman, did he come in August and have town hall meetings to explain this?
Oh, no. My congressman is campaigning for governor, so.
Oh, yeah, well, there's another kettle of fish that I would love to talk about today, but that'll have to be another time.
Yeah.
What's happening there? So, we were just talking before we came on about how the BBB conversation is always very positive. Those who may worry over Medicaid and SNAP cuts, losing health care coverage, and the rising national debt are told to wait and see, not be so negative. So let's start with some definitions. Carol, I'm sure that you have these at the tip of your tongue. What's a deduction? And what's a credit?
So a deduction is you have a tax burden. So you have a certain amount that you pay taxes on, and a tax deduction takes money from that total amount that you pay taxes on at the end of the year.
Okay. All right. So that's good.
A credit is dollar for dollar money that you get. So if you get a $2,500 credit, then that is $2,500 that you get on your tax return. You don't have to take a deduction to get benefit. You just get the credit.
Okay, you just get the money.
So the child tax credit would be one of those credits.
Okay. And the deductions have this thing called a bracket. And
Yes.
You said taxable income. Is that what you said? What does that mean?
So, depending on your income, your taxable income, which is on line 15 on your 1040.
Okay.
So, depending on that number, you get in a certain tax bracket. So, certain people make your tax burden will be 10% of that number. Some people, it'll be 12%. Some people will be 22%. It goes up as high as 37%.
Okay.
So.
And that's based on your income.
That is based on your income. So people that make over, so a single filer that makes over $626,000 will be taxed at 37%.
Okay. So they pay more in taxes, but they make more.
They make more. They do pay more. They make more.
Okay.
But that's still, I mean, 37%. You're talking over $500,000.
Yeah.
So that's still not, it's not a lot.
So a lot of people are probably in that tax bracket.
Where I live, so my county is in the lowest 10% of economies in the nation. We had come out of it a couple of years ago, but we're back in those distressed county, defined counties in Tennessee. So I've got, I think the poverty rate's around 22% here now. And so I would venture to say that we might have one person that makes over that amount, maybe two in my county out of 7,500 people.
Okay. But probably in larger, I mean,
Yes.
I think, Franklin, I think the average income in Tennessee is, I want to say 50,000 a year.
The average median income, the last time I looked at it, I think it was 42 or something like that. It's been a while since I looked at it. I will say that Williamson County is the best economy in the state of Tennessee. I think we only have 3 counties that have single-digit poverty rates in Williamson. That'd be Williamson, Wilson, and Sumner, maybe.
Maybe. But I know, we have the lowest, counties with the lowest, distressed counties, and the highest, all tucked into Tennessee. Okay.
Yeah. So I think the average poverty rate's around 16% in Tennessee.
Okay. Now, how does this, the resistance to this tax deduction that's now permanent, and raises the national debt? We'll talk about that later. But why does it benefit the wealthy so much? And why do we allow that?
Well, so people allow it because they don't understand taxes, right? So, and I'm sure this is intentional, but the way that they marketed this bill to people, they promoted it as saying, oh, we're going to give you a tax on tips. The reason for that is we have a lot of service workers, and service workers historically don't make much money. So in Tennessee, I believe, how much is it, $2.59 that a restaurant can pay you?
Okay.
And you're supposed to make up the rest of your minimum wage, which is only, what, $7.25? It's not changed in years.
Right.
So the minimum wage is $7.25. Their restaurants are allowed to pay their wait staff $2.59, and you're supposed to be able to make up your extra minimum wage in tips. Plus, so the cost of living, so here in very low cost of living county, average rent is $600 to $1,200 a month. People are making $2.59 an hour at a restaurant, and then, like, they're supposed to turn in their cash tips that they make on top of that. So, getting somebody that makes $2.59 an hour to turn in their tips, that is a whole separate issue in itself, right?
And you have to have made an income,
yes,
to get a deduction.
These people are scrambling. I mean, think about that. Even if you make $7.25 an hour, and you're having to have a car to take you to work, because we live in very rural Tennessee, right? If you work 40 hours a week at $7.25 an hour, that's only $290.
Okay.
That's $1,160 a month. If you've got kids, so you could have. I know people that have.
Would that be a month or a year?
So if you make $290 a week, that's $1,160.
Oh, okay, $1,100. I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know people that have, single moms that have 2 kids and work 2 full-time jobs and still draw SNAP benefits.
Yes.
Because that's so low. That's so low. And then, the bill was saying that you can deduct up to $25,000 of tips each year from your taxable income. These people don't have taxable income. Their wages are so low that they don't even have taxable income. The standard deduction is like, hang on just a second. The new standard deduction is...
Oh, I have that somewhere too.
I don't want to say the number because there's a new one.
I'm sorry, I don't have that. I thought
Okay,
I did.
$15,000 for a single person is the standard deduction.
Okay.
So, you know, they're making $1,100 a month. That's like $13,000 a year. So they're already in the standard deduction. So they're not going to get a tax benefit from this.
Okay. What if you make $100,000 a year?
So if you make $100,000 a year and you're wait staff and you got a side business, you get to deduct $10,000 off of your income that you make.
Okay.
See?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So for tips, you know. And the other thing, they said that, you know, you can deduct up to $10,000 of annual interest on a new car loan. Well, $10,000 in interest for these people is outrageous. Like, you're not going to have anybody that gets $10,000 that pays $10,000 in car interest. You would have to buy like a $100,000 car.
Wow.
To get that deduction. And none of these people, none of the low-income people here in my county have enough money to buy a $100,000 car.
Well, a lot of people, you know, across the state. So that's not really a big deal either, because people aren't going to take advantage of that.
Right. And then they're saying that the overtime pay was one of the other ones. Workers can deduct up to $12,500 of annual overtime pay. So as a CPA, I have about 30 or 40 businesses that I do.
Mm-hmm.
Hardly any of my people get overtime. Like, it's very minimal, the people that pay overtime. The people that do get overtime, it's usually well-paid people that get overtime, or I have a couple of, like, construction people, and it might help them somewhat, you know, but $12,500, if you're in a 15% tax bracket, you know, that's only, let's see, $12,500. That's only $1,875 that you're going to get deducted from your total money that you pay taxes on. So it's just...
Okay. So when I was working as a nurse in the hospital, you know, many years ago, we got overtime. So a profession like nursing, I might benefit this. Say I made $100,000.
Before we lost our hospital in Salina, those were some very coveted jobs here, and they paid well, and people got overtime, and they were happy to get it.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it could help those people, but currently our hospital is closed, and we don't have those jobs anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So most of our manufacturing plants are closed. So hardly anybody in my county pays overtime anymore.
Mm-hmm. So you think it's more that people don't know understand these tax brackets and very high salaries.
Yes.
And so just go ahead and, you know, accept, you know, the BBB things. I know.
Well, it sounds good. I mean, it sounds, if you look at somebody and you say, oh, there's a $10,000 deduction on annual interest for a car loan. Well, a lot of people don't even know the average car interest.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds really good, but it only benefits higher income people.
Tell me about the so child tax credit. You mentioned briefly that goes into the actual money because it's a credit.
Yes. So a credit is a dollar for dollar. So anytime you see the word credit, that is a lot better than a tax deduction, right?
I think they get mixed up. I mean, there's a break.
Yes.
I mean, you know, break, and there was a couple other words in my reading I would see. Well, I just figured out deductions and cuts, and now you're talking about a break.
Yeah. Well, so we have a couple of, so the earned income credit comes to mind. It's not in the Big Beautiful Bill, but it's a big credit that a lot of people get. But the caveat to that is you have to have earned income to get that credit.
Right.
So it's the same with the child tax credit. You've got to have earned income to get the child tax credit. You can't get it without having earned income.
Right.
So there are stipulations to that. So the child tax credit is great, but there's still, for people that have no income, it still doesn't help them, see.
But this would, say, a middle income person, like back to the $100,000,
yes.
you would get this.
Yeah, okay. Increasing the child tax credit will help the middle class tremendously. Yes.
Okay, and it is permanent.
Yes.
How about our seniors? The senior
So
deduction.
there was a thing in there that said there was a senior bonus deduction. It said Americans age 65 and over can deduct up to $6,000 from their taxable income.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty good. I don't have many seniors that have taxable income at all.
Okay.
So there's not many people that's going to get that.
Mm-hmm.
The seniors that do have taxable income are usually seniors that own a lot of investments or that own a business that's still getting money from an active business.
Mm-hmm.
So still, again, that deduction will target higher income people.
Okay. Okay, so because it's a credit, it doesn't mean that every senior is going to get $6,000.
Well, so this $6,000, right, it's a deduction. So because it's a deduction, that doesn't mean that everybody's going to get $6,000.
Because I just wonder if there's a lot of seniors that are,
Well, yeah, they think that, and so there is a way that your Social Security can get taxed now that wasn't that way before Ronald Reagan in the 80s. So they changed the law where you can tax Social Security, but not many people are in that position where their Social Security, again, they have to have extra income or have to have a business where they're still getting money or you know, a lot of seniors retire and somebody else runs the business, but they still own part of it. Or they're getting a lot of like dividends from investments that they've got, and only those people will get to take that deduction. But again, that's just a deduction off of your taxable income. So $6,000 off of, like, so you'd only get like 15% of that $6,000. Say 10%. 10% would be $600. So you could potentially get $600 off of your dividends or your business income.
Okay.
But can you hear me saying that? Like dividends or business income, that's not the average person, see?
Okay, yeah. Or somebody could have, you know, if you had a good job.
Yeah.
And two good jobs in a couple where you get, you know, money back, retirement funds, and you know, that type of thing, you're okay. But so middle income may or may not be able to take that. But that's another thing that sounds good. Also, these things, well, the tax deductions are permanent, so the wealthy are going to benefit from that.
Oh, yeah.
The child tax credit, well, you know, maybe. The senior, the overtime pay, and the no taxes on tip, and I guess maybe the credit, the car thing the loan was the credit, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not sure when that expires, but the other ones expire it's just a couple of years.
Yeah.
So some of the higher tax brackets just with this deduction are going to make tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Back.
So there was a big one in there so the SALT tax, do you know what that is?
Yeah, I saw that. I thought my brain would explode if I tried to go there, but go ahead.
So the SALT tax is state and local tax. So they raised the deduction to $40,000 for state and local tax. So in Tennessee, what that means is you can deduct like franchise and excise tax if you have a business. Okay. So and I think that was capped at like $10,000 until recently. So they've given that's a pretty big tax break for businesses right there. So they've really given businesses huge tax breaks in Tennessee. Okay, I thought at a future date I would try to cover the advantages in the BBB for small businesses and also corporations. We've talked about that too. So anyway, these other ones for the working people, the regular people, not only may not be that much, if anything, and then in 2028 they're over. This is expensive. Let's see, cost of these tax cuts estimated $4 trillion. Yeah. So trillion. How are they going to pay for that? Well, crazy. We're going to shred the safety net here, but
And we have talked in a couple programs, Carol, about what these cuts are. These are for regular low-income, middle-income people. So the Congressional Budget Office estimates 11.8 million people will lose their health care coverage. But I've also recently heard 16 or 17 million. So these are fluctuating. And this, this whole thing goes until 2034. This is like a 10-year plan. So I think that it's hard for us to understand, how things can kind of stretch out and take a lot of time because we're used to having things now, like a tax credit.
So this is my opinion. I think that how you treat your underprivileged people shows your morality in a country. And I think that this tax cut is for people that make money, and I think it shows just how much people that make money are dislike poor people. I mean, that's the bottom line. Because we seem to get all of this hoopla about, the car loan deduction, the $10,000, it says only 1% of car loans in the nation fall into that category. 1%.
Yeah. And here we got 17 million.
Yeah, and we're talking about people losing their insurance. Medicare is for older people to get a deduction on their health care. Medicaid is for low-income people. And that's TennCare in Tennessee. So Medicaid is TennCare in Tennessee. And, it seems like everything that's coming out of the government right now really targets low-income people, which is very upsetting. So.
Yeah. Well, and immigrants, but I'm not going to go too much into that. The other thing is SNAP the same way. Their answer to low income, get a job. And we've talked about that with your situation, but and that's really what everybody needs to is get a high-paying job. But you know how that goes; it's harder.
I mean, there are no high-paying jobs where I live.
Yeah.
So a high-paying job here is $15 an hour, which is barely a living wage, considering rent can be $1,100. And it's kind of gentrified where I'm at. There's a lake here, and property has went high. I mean, we have an Airbnb up the road that rents for $1,800 a night. $1,800 is more than most people make in a month.
Right. Well, they had a good job.
Well, I mean, we're easy targets for people that have that.
Well, people though with higher incomes, they have some weight to throw around, where the lower incomes may not. I just wanted to mention cuts to environmental programs has been huge. In the BBB, there's no spending for clean energy at all. There's been multiple measures to just take and slash and destroy things that want to protect our environment, because the current administration doesn't believe in the climate change.
Oh, no, and that's another thing that's hurt our economy here. So we have a dam and a lake, and the dam's controlled by the Army Corps of Engineers, and the cuts to those programs up there. I mean, they've cut people. They've cut local camping spots. They've shut them down. They're starting to lease part of the lake to corporations to build condos and stuff, but they've shut all the other stuff for local people. I know 2 campgrounds that's been shut down here. So,
well, what is important is defense. What's important to our government? The budget increased to $3.8 trillion through 2034. Of course, we dislike immigrants very much. How's that sawmill doing up there in your area? Are there job openings there?
Oh, no.
Okay. So that they haven't done a raid.
One that's probably going to shut down. One just shut down here not long ago, and then we've got another one that is probably struggling.
Okay. But did any immigrants illegal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I had one that had several that were taken and they let off all their people. So.
Yeah. So we don't like the immigrants no matter what. Border security, $150 billion. This is in the BBB. $50 billion to finish the wall. $45 billion for detention centers, building detention centers or maintaining them. $8 billion more for immigration officers, and $27 billion for deportations. So that's a lot of money. A lot of money.
So I have an interesting little bit. I feel some kind of way about the infrastructure bill. So the infrastructure bill gave a lot of money to areas, and I know that Putnam County got a lot of money in the infrastructure bill, but I don't feel like that money actually translated to Clay County. So Putnam County is an hour away from where I live, and a lot of people drive there to work. But I feel like that infrastructure bill, I feel like they should have done something for the really low economy counties. Put money into building ERs or something.
Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I was hopeful that would translate, but it doesn't feel like it's translated to money here for this county, because we went back into the distressed counties this year. So.
Well, and since we've worked together on hospitals, rural hospitals, they did allow $50 billion for rural hospitals. I don't think that's going to be enough, especially when no one has even their Medicaid to pay for things. So we need to see how that, pans out.
What Medicaid does is it makes patients in rural counties paying customers, whereas before they were non-paying customers, right?
Right.
So when people lose their Medicaid, there might be $50 billion for hospitals, but there won't be any paying customers for the hospitals, so the hospital here still won't come back.
Yeah.
Because you've got to have people that actually pay for their services at the hospital to employ people. So what will happen is the hospitals in the bigger places will get the $50 billion, because Putnam County's still a rural county, but they have 40,000 people, right? So, and that's the nearest. So Overton County is the nearest hospital to us, which is about 35 minutes away, right?
Okay.
And Putnam County is an hour away, and they have a hospital, but those hospitals will end up getting that money. That money still won't translate. That's what I keep trying to tell everybody. The money still doesn't translate. We are so poor here that we can't do anything with that they talk about 25% matching grants all the time, and that's great for people that have money, but the businesses here don't have the 25%
to pay their part of it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we started on this a little bit. What does this bill say about our values and what's important to us? We don't care for the working class or people with low incomes.
The morality of our country is evident by how we treat the least among us, and I just don't feel like, I feel like those people get targeted instead of, because, again, the way this is written up to the average person, it sounds like it's great. I've had people say, oh, this is great, and I've had to explain to them why it's not, and it's a little upsetting.
Yeah. Well, you want to say something about the national debt?
Well, it just keeps going up.
So I have a definition for this. It's the total amount of money the U.S. federal government owes to its creditors, representing the accumulation at past budget deficits. And it's grows when the government spends more than it collects. And so it's $37 trillion, and could something bad happen? Yes. Eventually, someday, maybe as soon as the 2030s, not that far away, and it's a lot of really negative, bad stuff.
Yeah.
So, I think we need to demand some explanations from our elected officials that are touting this bill and all the advantages to it, downplaying the disadvantages that will affect middle incomes. I mean, even if you've got good insurance and you're on insurance, you might have family members that are on Medicaid, or your daughter having a baby, although I do have a funny story about that. But to understand, we have to really, takes a lot of time to keep up on this stuff.
It does. So an easy way to understand the deficit versus the debt. So that's two different things, and a lot of people think it's the same because it's confusing. But the deficit is like, if you look at it like it's your expenses, how much your expenses are over the income that you have. That's the deficit. So that's how low we are. That's a point, right? A point in our expenses versus income. And then the debt, if you look at that like, it's like having a credit card. So the debt would be how much you owe on the credit card or your mortgage. So like the deficit is we're not getting enough. So when they say it increases the deficit, that means that, you know, we are spending more than we're taking in, right?
Right.
But like our debt is, like you said, it's what we owe other people, and so it's hard to talk about those two things because people get them confused so much, and it's two separate things, right?
Right.
But this $1 trillion, like, that's going to increase our deficit because we are lowering the income.
Right.
So the $4 trillion that and increasing our deficit is worse. We have a lot of loans out, but we can pay our loans. But when we start taking away our income, we'll get to where we can't pay our loans.
Right.
And so, whoever we owe, and I don't know this for sure. I think we owe a lot of money to China. Is that correct?
Yeah, but I had kind of read that, you know, they can't close us out. I mean, you know, so I don't think a country that we maybe owe money to can bankrupt us, but it will affect our economy and the world economy with a rising debt.
Yes, it does. So a lot of people think that debt is bad, but it's not necessarily bad. So debt gives you leverage. How much money you can borrow. Like if you can borrow a lot of money, then you're solid. Like people look at you and you're solid, your credit's solid. So that is not a bad thing. Having debt is not a bad thing. It's when it gets to where you can't pay your debt is a bad thing, right?
Right.
And then, but like the deficit is more concerning to me because that will get us in a position where we can't pay our debt. See?
Okay, and so it's the national debt or deficit. It's the trillions.
So the $4 trillion is increasing.
Okay, the 37 trillion.
Oh, you're talking about 37 trillion.
37 trillion is our national debt.
Yeah, I was talking about what the big beautiful bill was going to do to us.
Oh, okay. Well, it's increasing that.
Yes.
Over the next 10 years. That's a lot of money.
Yes.
To owe.
It's increasing our deficit by $4 trillion. Was that right?
3 trillion.
Okay.
Okay, but the number you always hear is just the total from the past. Adding to that. Well, anyway, bad things could happen, but I don't want to be negative.
Well, so, you know, being logical is not being negative. Facts are facts, right? So.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of, negative before our current president was elected. Everything was going to, America was going to cease to exist. It was dangerous, and we were going down.
Yeah.
And so that was negative. So I'm not really sure that was logical, but I think, Carol, the whole point that I made at the beginning and still believe is this is hard stuff.
It is.
When sometimes the general public doesn't like to look at the hard stuff, we do like those sparkling little things like money.
Well, I mean, if taxes were easy, I would be unemployed.
Yes, and you were uber employed. I can put in a bid to take accounting and get your CPA, y'all, kids. I think right now that, always the purpose of this show is to help people understand the hard things and go a little bit deeper into things like the big, beautiful bill. but you have to do some self-study too, especially coming into the coming months when, I mean, I'm already getting, please vote for me, I'm running for this, multiple, candidates thinking that they can make it better. And they need to, if they want to be our governor or our senator, or congressman, all congressional seats are open, we need to ask some of these hard questions, or you don't even have to know very much about them other than what we've talked about, is what does this mean for me, this tax deduction? Why have they been saying this benefits the wealthy? I don't want the rich to get richer. What tell me what that means. What's a bracket? These are the questions that should be asked when representatives come to your area. Now, our current elected officials probably won't do that. But the person that you don't know very well is running for governor or Congress.
Yeah.
They will come out because they want your vote, and to get your vote, they should work for it.
They should, and they should make you feel better about your situation. I have a theory about people. So where I live, it's very rural. For example, the nearest Kroger and Walmart is about an hour away.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say very rural, I mean very rural. So we have 2 local grocery stores, that provide, but it's not like going to a big chain store, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people out here are in survival mode 24/7. We have a lot of people that grow gardens. We have fantastic food, a lot of people that hunt, but they don't have a lot of time to be plugged into politics.
Right, yes.
And what's going on. They hear a few things that just barely cover the surface. And so when these politicians come out here and they send your child a birthday card and $30 for their birthday, then that solidifies, oh, they're a good person, or they wouldn't do that. Well,
exactly.
Meantime, that person is taking in $200,000 a year from a coal company, and the birthday card came out of campaign funds, right?
Right.
So,
yeah, you're so right.
It's very difficult to get people to understand these complicated issues because they just don't have time for it, and I get that. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that there was a way to help people understand how complicated this stuff is, just like this bill. And hey, they did a fantastic job of marketing that, coming up with the tips. There are so many people that work in the service industry that get tips. That sounds like an amazing thing, right?
Yeah.
And that made them feel better. If they're not turning in their tips, that made them immediately feel better about not doing that, which the IRS says you're supposed to turn in all income that you get.
Yeah,
correct.
right.
So, but and I mean, it's hard to do that. If you've got 2 kids and they're hungry and you need to get dinner and you've got $20 in your pocket, it's hard to write down that you got that $20 or even split it with somebody. So I mean, I get it. It's hard. So I don't know what the answer is, Sandy.
Well, I think we have some wealth in Franklin counties, our surrounding counties, and so I hope they take this to heart and ask some questions. And another thing that the bill will do by cutting services to people that need them is that the middle income earners are going to have to spend more of their income, or they should spend more of their income. We have a lot of churches here too, to help those folks out. And the problem with the billionaires, we just did some walking around with signs on that, is they don't help.
Mm-hmm. Some of them don't. Yeah.
I mean, some of them do, but it's a fraction. And I heard a podcast about like Elon Musk. He could solve probably world hunger. He's got a lot of money, and so what's he doing for us? Shooting rockets to Mars that don't go. He had one last week. I don't think we landed on Mars. And the idea that we can destroy this planet and just go off to Mars. That takes a little looking into. I guess it's uninhabitable.
Yeah, I'm going to say something very controversial.
Okay,
very
you go,
political.
girl.
I'm sorry. Let me apologize now. But Taylor Swift gave away $197 million. So
You did?
I hear a lot of people talk about, and billionaires generally are like not good people. They do keep their money. You're right, and they need to. But we have some that actually do help people. It's just that we shouldn't make it so easy for them to be a billionaire, right?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
and
good
people
one.
are so angry. They're so angry that they're mad at Taylor Swift because she's doing good things and everybody talks about it. And it's shocking to me. It's like you should be happy that somebody's doing something, but we seem to be in this time where and people are struggling, and I feel like that makes them angry, right?
Okay. See, I don't think they're angry enough.
I think maybe they're angry at the wrong things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're not angry enough at the elected officials, for sure.
No, they're not. And the people that passed this latest bill, I mean, what I've heard about, or used to hear about millionaires is, oh, they work hard. And I don't know, with generational wealth and, things passed down, and land especially, or inheritance. I mean, we're really allowing people to get more and more of that type of wealth without, taking a cut of it. But it just, there's a lot of things happening that, where is the outrage? And maybe it's just Tennessee. We're all locked into this explanation of, or an understanding of things that go on in our state. But, so I'd look to other states to see.
Where I live, people think that if they can go to the grocery store and buy what they want, then they're rich.
Oh, okay. Then things are okay.
Yeah. So they're not worried about it because they're so accustomed to doing like the level of survival mode that people around my area have been in at times. I mean, my husband grew up without running water. They had to walk a quarter of a mile to the creek to get water, So, and I mean, he's only 10 years older than I am. He was born in 61, so it's not that long ago. But we're in a different world here. So I get it. I get why they're checked out from stuff that doesn't benefit them. So it's hard.
I think, I thought with grocery bills going up, or the price of groceries going up, which to my knowledge or awareness, nothing has been done about that. And but I still see people that going for fast foods and the middle aisles of the grocery store instead of the borders, the perimeter where the good stuff is, but maybe costs more.
It's really hard to be healthy when you're struggling.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been there.
But see, I'm not seeing that, here. I'm noticing the increase in prices just because that's what I do. But I don't know that it's really hit yet for, middle income people. Nothing, I think here, or not that much has changed with the big beautiful bill. So we're just, see, everything's fine.
Yeah, another example of some of my friends that were running for office that I supported were advocating for no grocery tax on food. And I'm for that. I'm for no grocery tax on food. I think that we should not be charging people state sales tax on food, right? Mm-hmm. We have enough other items that we could do that because Tennessee doesn't have sales tax on food. So a lot of people in my county, because we're a border county, they go to Kentucky and they do their grocery shopping. But the thing about it is, people that are on SNAP benefits, they don't get charged tax on food. So those people really don't care about that.
Yeah.
So 21% of the people in my county, that doesn't affect them because they're below the poverty rate and they're getting SNAP benefits.
Right, okay. Yeah.
So that makes them not care about that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know I don't think they care here. I also think I've fought for health care equality since 2016, and I do think people are a little fatalistic about health care. Just, that's the way it's always been in my family. My mom lost her leg, or grandma lost her she died at lung cancer at 56 or something like that. And so, feeling good and feeling healthy. I don't know in rural counties. I just don't. There's no outreach.
No, we're accustomed to not having health care.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, I didn't go to the hospital when I was a kid. My granny raised me, and it was like 40 minutes to get to town.
Yeah. Here, lay down for a while.
Yeah. Well, my granny she was an herbalist and a midwife.
Yeah. Well, I think that might be...
Came up with some herbs and told me go to bed.
Well, and that might be some of our health, Secretary of Health, that catches on with home remedies.
Well, and it's such a different thing for some people. People that grow up with access to health care, they think it's appalling that people don't have health care. But I keep hearing this, people vote against their own interests, and that's not necessarily, like, I never say that because you don't know.
I don't either, because you don't know exactly.
And that is
it's very dismissive.
Those people are
too.
dumb, and they're not dumb.
Mm-hmm.
That's not where we are. But when I grew up, going to the dentist was a privilege.
Right.
That it was a luxury. It wasn't something that was required. I mean, you have to have a list of priorities, and the less the resources you have to whittle down your list of priorities.
That's right.
And I think a lot of people that have those luxuries that they think are necessities, and they are necessities, but we're out here and we're like, oh, well, that's not a necessity. We can do without that hospital. We've got to make sure that we get food.
Right. Well,
it's just a different perspective.
It's a different perspective. Well, Carol, I'm getting signals, lots of signals that we should be done.
It was so good to talk to you.
It's always good to
appreciate you having me.
Thank you so much, Carol. Good luck up there, and good luck with tax season. And
thank you. I need it.
It used to be just March and April, but it's year round now, isn't it?
It is year round, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll let you go. Thank you so much, and I'll see you around somewhere.
Sounds good. We'll talk soon, Sandy.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye. This has been Common Sense Matters, and today we've talked to Carol Abney, my favorite CPA from Salina, Tennessee, in Clay County, very poor rural county. But a lot of good information today. I've learned a lot doing this. I hope you've learned a couple things too. I think it's really important to not take the One Big Beautiful Bill passed and to be a little skeptical about it. Start looking at your own and your family's income. Are you going to benefit from this? Think about the long term. This is things happening for the next 10 years. And, hopefully we can get some free budget counseling to help with that. I tell you what, it's hard stuff to figure this out. But I appreciate the opportunity to, research it and present today to you. So we will be on Spotify. Recording of this will be on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can also go to the website for the Franklin County, Tennessee Democratic Party.